Hi everyone, how you doing? It's actually my first time in Cape Town. I think it's a really cool place. I'll have to come back. Anyway, welcome to my talk. My name is Maye, Edwin. I'm a little bit about myself. I'm a Google developer expert in web technologies. And I'm super excited to be here today. And what I'm going to be talking about is PWAs in 2022 and beyond, right? Um, Before I continue, why is my thing coming? Okay, let's try this. Yeah, okay, cool. Also into open source a lot. You could find some of my work on open source. There's this exciting library about around PWA that I've built. We recently got some funding from Google to kind of just supercharge our efforts to enable or provide resources for developers to build more capable PWAs in a more easy way. Yeah, I'll be sharing more about that. Yeah. So jumping right into our talk, in 2022, the web is really getting truly native and more capable. Before I proceed, who knows what a PWA is? Does everyone know what a PWA is? Do you? I just need to confirm I have the right audience, yeah? So what exciting thing do you know about PWAs? Anyone? Are these mine? These t-shirts? I like giving out stuff. Are these mine? Nah. Okay. What exciting thing do you know about PWAs? Anyone?
It's a very fast, very small in terms of size as well. Yes, it's a web app. Yeah, you kind of put me on the spot there.
And you?
I don't know a lot about it. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
But web apps and because they seem to be quite quick to develop. So that's one of the things that I think that
To build a web application. Anyway, yeah, so what is happening today is the web is getting truly native and more capable. And what I mean about that is Google, Microsoft, Apple, all these browser vendors are coming together to kind of build a truly unified web platform. And what they're doing is to kind of bring these native capabilities we have on mobile platform to the web. So most of the time, a lot of things were being built on the native platform as web applications. So things like background sync, offline support, sharing stuff. You could share something from one application to another that is on native platform. And you could not do those stuff on a simple web application, right? If you wanted stuff to work offline, you could not achieve that on any particular website. And then Google took the lead and tried to build these capabilities in the browsers. And they saw like a surge in the number of people building tools or capable web application and driving their users to use Chrome and stuff, okay? So Microsoft and the other browser vendors wanted part of, from a business perspective, of that market share. So they had no choice to jump ship and join Google in the effort. That's why you saw like Microsoft putting aside Microsoft Internet Explorer, right? And now decided to build Microsoft Edge on top of Chrome. Yeah, so that's what happening today. And I usually say, before I proceed this talk, like the next 5 years, the tools you use will not matter at all. Okay? You decide to be a mobile developer and build anything anyone can build with any technology. Decide to be a web dev and build entirely anything a native mobile app developer can build. So that includes even the desktop platform. Yeah. So there's this mission behind this drive with these browser vendors, and that web apps should be able to kind of do anything native applications can do, but then there is a twist to it. So one of the reasons we had this slow progression in terms of capabilities on the web platform was safety, privacy, and trust, yeah? So this is a simple example. Like 2 years ago, you would visit some site, and at the bar, you would see some red warnings and stuff, yeah? A lot of times, but today, you rarely see that. Okay? So, what happened is, by default, all websites on all browsers have an HTTPS. And if you had your website or web application over HTTP, it's blocked entirely, even on the tiniest browser you have, Opera. So by default, so that was one key kind of step. So building features or capabilities like QR code scanners on the web requires permissions. It's quite scary, or cameras and stuff. So with such initiatives, they had to kind of build all these APIs or capabilities around safety, privacy, and trust. So I singled it out, like an example would be HTTPS, and then you have privacy, of course. So we have, like, for example, camera access. So by default, when you try to access camera via web application, you get a prompt, so the user has to directly do what? Kind of give that permission. So that would be an example, a good example. And then trust, it is basically the two of innovation that are put in place. So HTTPS by default, and then privacy, a camera, notifications, microphone access, and then trust to kind of just call to the user first, give control to them. Yeah. So they're all building these features of bringing this capability to the web platform, putting the users first, because that's what kind of drive the success of their efforts. Anyway. Yeah. And you will realize that when you move forward, the web it's actually rich on my platform, and just from a software engineering perspective, everyone starts. 90% of software engineers, their first line of code was in HTML. Yeah. So anyone at some point of their life, 90% of software engineers started writing HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript. Okay. So the thing is, the web is the most reachable, the largest platform for anyone trying to build any business. Okay? And a fun fact, like Twitter, Facebook, and all those social platforms, their revenue, 70% of the revenue averaging comes from web applications. So the Twitter Lights on Play Store, and then the web application and stuff. Yeah, there's a yeah, and then there's been like a deeper integration with the operating system. So stuff like sharing stuff from a web application. So where when you try to share stuff with a normal native application, there's the native Android dialog for Android or iOS that pops out, yeah? You can share stuff to it or to other applications. So the same, like a year ago, you couldn't do that on any single web application. But now it's possible. I'll be talking more about it. So the web is now getting more integrated with the native OS it's running on. So be it desktop, iOS, Mac OS, and stuff, Windows, and the rest. And then, yeah, so in its entirety, so the goal is to kind of just enhance these capabilities. And in 2022, or the last 1 year, moving forward, there's been deliberate release of features or capabilities around privacy, CSS, security, UI and UX, so that is in CSS as well. And these APIs that kind of just bring these QR code scanners, NFC tag scanners to the web platform. And I'll start with privacy, security capabilities, and some of the interesting stuff, especially from the last Google. Who knows Google I/O? Yes. So from the last I/O, so there's been improved kind of way to install stuff, web applications or PWAs. App shortcuts was a thing like 2 years ago in native apps, so where if you have an application installed like WhatsApp, you have app shortcuts. You can directly text someone, or maybe use Twitter. You can go directly tweet, message, and do stuff. So with PWA that wasn't there, so they had to bring that capability as well. I'll be sharing with you that. And then sharing badges. So you install a PWA and you receive a message. If it's Twitter, for example, you can actually see the count of notifications you need to pay attention to. And then offline support. There's been improvement and tools that have been built to kind of just allow or abstract the way one would actually integrate offline support. So I'll be talking more about that. Yeah. So let's start with the installation experience. So initially, when PWA was starting out, this is how you would install a PWA from the browser, right? And then we had like, okay, cool. So this one looked like just adding an app shortcut to your application. So if you're a developer, this one meant more than that. Okay? for a basic user, this one wasn't kind of making any sense. It was just a normal app shortcut. So they had, the next thing was collapsed mode. So this one is the one that was built on an improvement of that. So that what this happened when you try to click it, to kind of just from the button say it's installed. So the user natively knows that, oh, I'm actually installing it. Okay? Yeah, so thinking of the lowest thinking user as possible. Yeah, and then there's been improvement to kind of just the effort is to make the web look as native as possible, right? So we have now expanded installable. So this one allows you to kind of now market or provide more details about a PWA. So from a business perspective, provide screenshots, explain what your PWA does, and with this, you're sure that if a user installs, they really wanted to kind of install it, all right? Because now they've read more about your PWA, you can market it. And this one is always in Play Store, iOS, Switcher and stuff. So this one just got onto Chromium-based browsers like a year ago. Yeah. So this is where we are. You could clap for these guys. They've tried, yeah? Yeah. And then there is more to it. You can even now customize the experience and how you would want that to look like, in a way. And before I proceed, Twitter is a good example. Twitter does really very well. It's the largest kind of example that is used across the browsers. And you can see this one, the Twitter Lite, actually. So whether you're using the website itself or the PWA or using Twitter Lite, you are using the same web application. Whenever you install it from Play Store. So what happens is, you will create an option. So that is a splash screen, an APK, publish it to Play Store or Apple Store, wherever. And then there's a place where you actually provide a link to your website, and that's it. So what happens is people will install the splash screen on the app, and then when you kind of just start the application, it runs in Chromium, in the Chrome browser or Firefox and stuff. Yeah, so it depends. Basically, so you could see, so they've really used it to kind of get breaking news, publish it, and by the time you install it, you feel as native as possible. And it's very easy from a developer perspective. So all you need to do is the web manifest. Who has ever built a PWA? A show of hands? Okay, so, yeah. So for those who don't know, so there are two things involved in building PWAs: a service worker and an app manifest. So an app manifest is basically a JSON. So manifest, if you like politics. So more information about your PWA, it allows you to kind of now provide that install prompt directly. So you can provide the name. So the name will be now this feature. And then you can provide the start URL. So that is basically when someone launches your application, where do they kind of start from? Yeah. And then screenshots are basically this. Okay? So you provide the screenshots of your application. That's how you can integrate it as quick as possible. And then you also add a description part of it, which is this. And that's it. Once you add that, you have that kind of more expanded installation kind of experience for your users. Yeah. And then I talked about service worker. The service worker is just a JavaScript file, and it runs separately. However large it is, it will never affect the performance of your PWA. So it has a different runtime in the browsers. So that one now allows you now to add these amazing features, capabilities. So offline support majorly, background sync and stuff. Yeah. Yes, I think after this you may get pointers and learn more about it. Yeah, and then there's a twist to it, the installation. So I was talking about there being a deliberate kind of effort to kind of provide a custom way for developers to kind of think of how to integrate installation. So you could, for a desktop kind of experience, you could get rid of this by default. This is how it looks, quite ugly, right? And scary. So by default, this is how it looks like on desktop. But now you can build your own custom integration this way. So you have a custom button, and then there's an API way of kind of just triggering it, and you have it installed. And with this one, you control when to install it, how to install it, and from this, you'll be able to, before I proceed. So there's an example blog of mine that I've integrated the same. So you can also provide me more information and insert more kind of trust in it. just install a desktop application, they'll be, wow, really? Okay. Yeah. So they're installing, thinking they're installing some desktop application from somewhere, but it's basically the same web application, so you can do that. Okay? Yeah. And then, you could find an example at read.org. Yeah. And from a business perspective or logic perspective, with this custom way of installing, you can now do these things. Decide when to show the prompt, guide the user. So, for example, I can tell you are installing, and you can provide more models to tell them when you install, this is what happens. I'm accessing this, I'm doing this, these are benefits, the marketing stuff about the application, right? And then you can collect metrics. Yeah, so track installation metrics allows you to improve the entire experience. Yeah, so you can know, so when they start, click the prompt, you can know if they dropped off up to the end, all right? So you can collect every step, because when you click, there's a trigger, then when they install, there's a trigger, when they install, there's a trigger. So from a marketing perspective, business perspective, it provides developers a more native experience to interact with how your application is being used, in a way. Yeah, I'll be showing you things in a little bit. And then, what next? Immersive user experience. The camera, sorry. I thought I was tall, too tall, sorry. So what next? So immersive user experience. And that includes the installation flow, which you've talked through, and then we have app shortcuts, notifications, sharing. So you click a button, I want to share stuff to a web application or from a PWA, and then you directly interact with the native prompt for Android, iOS, and stuff, or even on desktop. Your badges, brand on login, offline support, and stuff. So let's just look at it. So the first one is, for example, offline support. This one was the first promise of PWAs. So there was always install a PWA because it would work offline. This was the mother of all then, all right? Yeah, but then people started misusing it. A lot. Developers misuse, so they make everything offline, so the experience even becomes more sluggish. If your application has some real-time updates, you cannot be able to kind of get real-time updates because everything is falling back to the cache and stuff. Yeah. But then, that's still there, and there's been, tools that have been built to kind of now allow you to even have more control on how you could cache or make stuff offline. And to add on that, we have the IndexDB that you can interact with, local storage, background sync, cache, and service work. Background sync is a big thing on every platform. You can now do this in PWA. So think of Twitter PWA or Twitter Live, for example. So you received a message, or there's any you are tweeting, and then it went off, and then you left the PWA. If you are sending the tweet will be sent in the background. So that one was only available on the native platform, but now you can do it within a PWA, and then you can use the background sync API to achieve that. Then the cache has been improved, but then to do that we have Workbox JS. It's a library that has been built and driven by Google that allows you to do this. With the Workbox, you have more control. You can dictate when to cache, how to cache, how much to cache, and how frequent to cache. So this tool allows you to do all those things. And then an example would be, for example, if you're building a Twitter-ish like stuff, or WhatsApp like, let's use WhatsApp. So you could say that I want to always check the network if there's new messages, yes, but fall back to the offline bit of it. Yeah, so basically known as network fast strategy, something like that. So it provides you different strategies you could use to kind of build that native or really amazing offline fast kind of experience within your PWA. So the thing is, you dictate how to cache, when to cache, how frequent to cache, and how much to cache. Yeah. And then there's also been an improvement in terms of user experience, that is how to notify your users, and they've kind of built that experience or API capability around these three important pointers, and that is providing notification promptly in a way that kind of doesn't frustrate the user, and you can actually guide the users before the browser kind of shows stuff up. Using that, okay, let me just jump. Yeah, so something like, so there's been improvement on how that you hide, natively kind of integrated. So initially we'll have some interesting looking badly kind of UI that will allow you to kind of show a notification and stuff. Yeah. And then we can allow users now to configure notifications with settings. So Google Chat kind of provide a better experience or a better example. So you can have this custom UI. So the user can decide whether they want to receive notification on the silent mode, or they can just mute the notifications, yes, but still receive them on via the email. So that's how cool it's gotten, all right? So initially you could just mute or allow sound, and it ended there. But now you can even go further. Mute everything, but still get the same notification via an email address. Yes, and then badges. So this one now allows you, so you have notifications, you can now allow a user to kind of just know that there's something happening behind the PWA, so kind of get into it and do whatever you need to do. And this badging API is straightforward, okay? A very small API, but has a lot of catch from a business perspective. So you can see, so this is how you trigger the API on the navigator and do something, provide the counts. If there's an error, do whatever you want to do, and this is how you clear. So once someone reads, for example, they read every message, you can just clear the count and defaults back to 0. Yeah. And then falling back to notifications, just a more kind of sidekick from myself. So when we're thinking about notifications, so a lot of people might misuse this API, all right? And that's why we find that Google and the rest, what they do is by default block notifications, so the user can actually just have to manually kind of trigger or provide permission to it. But when you're thinking about notifications, that in your application, these are the things you need to put in mind. You can create UI elements like Google Chat to provide a way to enable or disable application. It makes it more friendly in a way, all right? And then you can schedule notification. Don't send a notification every now and then. If you use Firebase Cloud Messaging, who has ever used Firebase? Yeah, so great tools. And schedule them and provide them promptly in a way, and then show notifications, for example, with Cloud Messaging. And then you can even use Service Worker so that it doesn't affect even the performance of your application. You don't need to ship, even if you ship more JavaScript, it is not part of your general app bundle and stuff. Yeah. So you can now configure it in the Service Worker or directly with the Firebase Service Worker and stuff. Yeah. Yes. Now we've looked at the custom installation flow, offline support, how to add notifications and things as a sidekick to keep in mind when thinking about notifications generally. What next? You need to share stuff to and from your web application. And this is how it looks like. So this is the native Android share dialog. So you can now achieve this. Initially, if you're a web developer, you will use a lot of libraries. You click share Facebook, there's a pop-up, to get a lot of stuff. It was dirty. And dirty, very dirty. Yeah, but now you can just, once your application, this is a PWA, installed and everything, people can just share stuff to all those applications. So these are great improvements, yeah? And then it's very simple. There's a number of things you need to write. This is it, and that's it. That's it, okay? Provide a title, description, the URL you want to share. And then you can also share stuff back to a PWA. Yeah, so that one, I don't know if I have in the slides, yeah, but you can now share to and from the PWA. Okay. But I have something else I'll show you on how to achieve that really short, yeah. And then there's also been kind of integration with the Windows controls. So another cool thing with desktop application, you can actually build an application and use the Windows, let me see, control of the application to do stuff, okay, with native desktop application. So install PWA desktop application, you can now do this, okay? So you can put that cool feature up in the Windows control bar and people can just achieve whatever they need to achieve with that. If it's a payment or let's say if it's a subscription service, you can just put, if it's Spotify, for example, a button up there. So they don't need to go into settings, blah, 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 find a way to change the subscription or resubscribe and stuff. Then just put a button up there and that's it. So they don't really care about going back into application. All they can care about is just listening to music. Or you can even add more buttons. Let's say Spotify, so you can subscribe, play, pause, next, whatever, and the Windows control. So that's how cool it's got it as well. Yeah, and then this thing, the Android developers were up in the sky when this came, yeah? Yes, now you can actually do it now with PWAs, and this is how it will look like normal app shortcut. So, for example, start, notifications, new project, site settings, shortcuts to different features within your PWA that has been installed. And it's as native as you can see it. So this was this point here when I was talking about, let's see. Where is it? Yeah. Integration the AS, the goal. Yeah. That's basically one of good examples to kind of just keep in mind. Yes, sorry. Yes. So, and it's very simple. This is how you do it. You just add another array list, shortcuts, and that's it. As simple as that. As simple as that, and you go on with the business. That's it. That's it. No more JavaScript. Yes. Add that and that's it. You don't need to worry about what's happening. Yeah. So that's how cool it is. And for desktop applications, where is it? We have one for desktop. For desktop, it doesn't really look nice at the moment. But I'm sure it's going to be looking even much better. But this is one of the cool features that's out there for PWAs. You could explore this if you have any PWA running. Okay? Yeah. And then we also have more kind of things that can kind of just improve the native UI or UX experience as well around CSS and better HTML. How do you build your dialogues? If you wanted to integrate a dialogue in a web application, how would you do? What comes in your mind? The first thing. Anyone? So you want to create a model? Yes.
It's a section with absolute positioning or something.
Yeah, a lot of CSS and skills. Yeah, everyone works for you in the team. How would you do it? Are you sure? Not you. Now you. Okay. Anyone else? If you're using Angular, React, or libraries, how do you do it? A normal model. What comes in your mind?
CSS and JavaScript.
CSS and JavaScript? Okay. 10 minutes to go? Okay. So, you have an idea? Are you guys shy? You look really smart. Yeah, so basically what happens, if I wanted to just get a simple model, I'll just go, if it's React, install a package, and that's it. If it's Angular, look for Angular material, and that's it. Okay? So it's been one of the headaches, and we've been pushing a lot most of the time. Some of the one-on-one feedbacks with Google and stuff. Now we have a native dialogue element, and it is really amazing. This is how you integrate it or add it. So you have a dialogue element. You provide an ID, so this is vanilla JavaScript. So you grab it, that's how you grab it on course dialog, grab it from the DOM, and then call the show model on it, and it shows. Okay? That's how it looks like. So you can add, it has even the shadow and in the background, everything. You don't need to worry about it. All you need to worry about is the content within. So the cancel and confirm, hello dialog is my custom kind of content I put inside. So, but the layout and the white background thingy, that's the model, it's what you need to do. And then you have methods to cancel and confirm. So the same way you have show model, you have a dot cross model. So you don't need to worry about how to close and open it. As simple as that, and it does expressive. Yeah, so that is one of the greatest things they did for us. And then we have another one. This is depth. So you'll find at work your designers are telling you, no, I don't like that. You need to create a custom one. And they come up with a very crazy user design. And you're like, what's wrong with this guy? Yeah? Yeah, so but now they've made it more standard. So you can actually pick time and date within the same UI. And this is how cool it looks like. And it's very simple. So you need to just add the input type of datetime has been there. But then you need to provide, let's say, datetime, local. Oh, it is with date only. So you have datetime and datetime local, so picks the local time and stuff. And this is how it looks like. So you don't need to worry about this UI anymore. It's standard across all the browsers. You can clear, pick date, time, change, and whatever at the same time. Yes. And then this one, we've been crying a lot about this to kind of just improve how we write our CSS. So you have if you worked on design systems, there's a way maybe you want to style something and get a theme around everything, grab everything at once and style it in a way you would want. So the hash selector kind of allows you to kind of check the parent for any attributes that are in its scope using the hash element. That it's, for example, would be that. So you have a figure element. I want to grab all the figure elements that have. I want to grab a figure element and check if it has any figure caption. If it has it, then style it the way I want. So that's how you use hash, and you also have where, kind of works the same. So where, find, span, do this, blah, 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 blah. So more expressive way of writing CSS. More semantic way of writing CSS. I would say that, yeah. Okay, so it's naturally, okay, has, I'll do this, where and stuff, yeah. And then there's this library I was talking about now, PWAs. So how do you go about adding all this? Looks like really nice. How many minutes? Great. I should be closing down. So it looks like we have a lot of these amazing APIs and capabilities. So this library allows, what we've done with this library, we've brought all these APIs and more together into one package. So if you wanted to do copy images, badging, notification, installation, website, you don't need to worry about those 10, 20, 50 lines of code and how it's been implemented. You can just call a method of the library and you have it working. To close down for 1 or 2 questions. So this is how it looks like. Let me see. Now, so that's the API. Google Chrome is supporting us in this effort. So for example, if I wanted to install a PWA, so those are the 3 lines of code I need, and that's it. Install the library, just call install on that, and that's it. You have the feature, and then if you wanted to have badging, for example, how many lines of code? 1, 2, 3, without the comments, and that's it. If you wanted to add copy text, for example, just provide the text you want to copy, and that's it, and much more. So all those APIs have been bundled together. You can pick files, idle detection. So for example, for a video application like Netflix, so the PWA can smartly know if someone is actually watching. So if they change and move to another tab and stuff, it pauses automatically. So you have that cool features in video streaming. So you can actually achieve that. And it's not really as an innovation with Netflix. It's there, so you can actually achieve that. So that's it. From me, I will take any questions from you guys. Yes. Thank you.